Matthew Hilton was born into a fighting bloodline. That's what the Hiltons were. A tribe with roots tangled deep in the mud of Scotland and Ireland. He was a throwback to another era, a bare-knuckle spirit wearing modern gloves. But the same blood that made him a champion carried the poison too. The Hilton curse, maybe. The same fire that made him great burned from the same source that would one day consume him. The Hilton family's boxing roots run so deep, they might as well be tattooed into their DNA. Their lineage stretches back to the 1880s, when Hilton's great-great-grandfather, David Stewart, fought bare-knuckled for pride in pocket change. His great-grandfather turned professional. His grandfather, Dave, laced them up as an amateur in Scotland, but it was Matthew's father, Davy Sr., who carried the family name the furthest, at least for a while. Davy Sr. racked up a 72-0 amateur record, winning multiple Golden Gloves titles, including one in 1958 alongside a young Cassius Clay. When he turned professional, he captured the Canadian featherweight crown in his sixth bout, and later fought the likes of Billy Backus, Clyde Gray, and Luis Rodriguez. He had the tools to go further, maybe even to a world title, but he later admitted that his real opponent wasn't inside the ring, it was the bottle. Still, Davy Sr. passed something down, a blueprint for fighting, a set of instincts as natural to his sons as breathing. There were 5 Hilton boys, Davy Jr., Alex, Matthew, Stuart, and Jimmy, and each one was born with a pair of fists and a story to tell. Matthew, the middle son, laced up his first gloves at 3. By 6, he made his amateur debut, throwing 2 punches before his opponent bolted from the ring in tears. Davy Sr. swore he never pushed his boys into boxing, claiming they tried other sports before coming back on their own.
I went over and bought them hockey equipment. They started playing hockey. I think they played 2 or 3 games. They were the worst hockey players I ever saw in my life. I didn't say nothing. And they came back themselves and said they wanted to box, so I never really pushed them into boxing. They were natural. As far as I'm concerned, they were born to be fighters.
They all played hockey for a while, Sr. said, but they asked for their gloves back. By the time they were 12, every Hilton boy had quit school, studying at home with tutors between sparring sessions. On Canada's amateur circuit, the Hilton brothers were a traveling storm. They came into town with their gloves and reputations, and before long, organizers couldn't find opponents willing to face them. By 1975, Matthew had more than 50 fights and a Junior Olympics title. By 1982, his record stood at an impossible 106-0, and many were calling him the finest amateur Canada had ever produced. The path to the 1984 Olympics seemed clear, until it wasn't. When officials told him that his father wouldn't be allowed to work his corner, Matthew balked. Instead of chasing Olympic gold, he turned professional at the age of 17. The press ate up the family angle. They were sold as the Fighting Hiltons, disciplined, humble, clean-cut. But outside the ring, the story was different. Matthew started drinking at 16 because that's what grown-ups do, he later said. It was a habit that wouldn't consume him yet, but the seeds were already there. Then, just as Matthew's professional career was about to begin, tragedy, or something close to it, struck. The day after Christmas, 1982, Davy Sr. woke up with pain searing through his chest, his arms paralyzed. At 42, he was suffering a massive heart attack. 20 minutes later, he was in the emergency room. For Matthew, it was another kind of fight, one where the opponent wasn't across the ring, but in a hospital bed. His professional debut loomed just days away, but his father, the man who had built him, molded him, and lived through every round, was fighting for his life. He's been under a lot of pressure because of us, Matthew said. Sometimes we drive him crazy. He's always so nervous and he can't sleep before the fight. 12 days later, Davy Sr. walked out of the hospital. Matthew decided to go ahead with his debut anyway, though his father, still frail, stayed home. That night, in front of 7,000 fans, 17-year-old Matthew stepped into the ring for the first time as a professional. His opponent, Dennis Brisson, wasn't supposed to be a pushover, a tough welterweight who'd gone the distance with Davey Jr. the year before. But the younger Hilton was a different breed. In the second round, Hilton unleashed a pair of right uppercuts, so clean, the referee later said they, quote, looked like they were going to take Brisson's head off. It was more than a debut. It was a declaration. The Hilton legend had begun. Hilton was fighting every month now, filling arenas in Montreal while splitting his training time in the Catskill Mountains under the watchful eye of Cus D'Amato, the legendary mentor who had molded champions and philosophers alike. In the Catskills, Hilton found not just discipline, but a friend and another teenage terror in the making, Mike Tyson. D'Amato, who could spot promise the way a gambler smells luck, raved about the Hiltons, saying every one of them had potential to be world champion. But Matthew was the prodigy. By late 1984, he wasn't just fighting, he was performing. Thousands of fans packed into Montreal's Forum to see the 18-year-old turn another opponent into dust. The Canadian press fawned, tossing nicknames like confetti. The Bulldozer, the Terrible Kid, the terror of the Hilton gang. When the Hiltons entered the ring, the crowd rose to the sound of bagpipes. Grandpa Dave, the old Scotsman with the broken nose and pride to match, made sure of it. We're the Hiltons from the Stuart clan, he'd say. We're Scots, and all of us should be wearing the Stuart tartan when we're on display. It was spectacle and heritage rolled into one. The Hiltons were becoming Canada's answer to the fighting families of legend, but the same fire that fueled their rise had a way of burning through the walls that held it. In March of 1984, the first crack appeared. Matthew was riding shotgun when his older brother Alex rear-ended another car. Alex walked away without a scratch. Matthew wasn't so lucky. His head shattered the windshield. 12 stitches ran across his forehead like a roadmap of bad luck. His upcoming fight was canceled, and the momentum slowed, if only for a heartbeat. Within months, Matthew was back, fighting and flattening. After only a year as a pro, whispers began to circulate. A potential matchup with IBF junior middleweight champion Mark Medal. The kid from Montreal was no longer a curiosity. He was a fast-rising contender. In June of 1984, Hilton stopped veteran Nino Gonzalez, and the talk grew louder. By January of 1985, he was matched with Brazil's Francisco de Jesus, an undefeated 28-year-old ranked 6th by the WBA. The oddsmakers had Hilton as a 3-1 underdog. The crowd, over 12,000 strong, had other ideas. De Jesus looked confident and composed, the kind of fighter who liked to dictate. Hilton took that personally. By the 6th round, De Jesus was staggered. By the 7th, he was swaying, and by the final bell, Hilton had beaten the ranking right off him. It wasn't just a win, it was a statement, the arrival of a new force. Word spread fast. The phenom from Canada, the blue-collar thunderbolt who punched like a man twice his size. In April of 1985, he made his American debut before 10,000 fans in Buffalo. 6 months later, back in Montreal, he was headlining against former middleweight champion Vito Antifermo, a fighter who had once stood among the best, but now, at 32, was more memory than menace. Still, he was a marquee name, the kind of fight that puts you on the map.
Antifermo moving forward. And Hilton with the left hand, scoring lightly to the jaw of Antifermo. Antifermo retired. He had a tendency to be cut a great deal, and you see it in his face. He has paid the price as a professional boxer. Hilton with his back to you. Solid right hand to the rib cage. And again, Hilton.
That's it! That's it! Nice and easy!
Antifermo won the world championship. As again, Hilton goes on the attack here. And Hilton really going to town early in this fight. We're in the first round. Now Antifermo comes back. Fans expecting a great fight here at the Montreal Forum. For the Hiltons, this is the first major challenge for any of the brothers, and it is coming on the shoulders of Matthew Hilton, just 19 years of age. Hilton moving well, as he has always done in the ring. This is a junior middleweight division. And again, Hilton. Looking at him from the corner, almost closed by the scar tissue that has accumulated over the years. Hilton again, this time banging away at the midsection, doubling up almost solely there with his right hand. Oh, very, very strong. He has the ability to muscle a man around the ring, and there he staggers antifermo with a left hand to the side of the head. There's the uppercut scoring heavily. Hilton is done here in Montreal. There's no cuts in those 4 fights. He has got a cut now, and it's beginning to open up over his left eye, or his right eye, rather. And in the corner now, Hilton is really going to work. And Jutras, the referee, steps in. Over the right eye, you're beginning to see signs of blood in antifermo. To say he's never been knocked out. Most of his knockouts on his card as defeats are TK by cuts. But Hilton very busy here in the first 2 rounds, controlling the fight and carrying it to antifermo. The danger, of course, is, although he's just 19 years of age, that you punch yourself out as the fight goes along. You have to pace yourself. And this is just Matthew Hilton's 19th professional bout. There's a good left hand, another sharp jab.
Punch! Punch!
Dave Hilton Sr., in talking with him earlier today, said the one thing I'm not concerned about is antifermo being stronger than Matthew. Matthew is tremendously strong. And possesses a wonderful boxing talent and a wonderful approach to the game. Very level-headed. A full 1-minute respite, and we're set for round 3 here. One thing we've noticed as we've watched Matthew Hilton come along as a professional is that he has followed his father's instructions in the ring to the letter. He is excellent. Again, it is Hilton who is landing the sharp, clear, crisp punches. Antifermo seemed to be glancing, missing the target. The inaction, perhaps, in the case of antifermo. And age. One must always consider age. Antifermo, born in Bari, Italy.
Downstairs! Work with it!
His amateur career began 15 years ago in 1970, and he's been fighting ever since through the pro ranks. And over that career, antifermo has fought 7 different world champions and was a world champion himself. There's Hilton again. Now he goes on the attack once again. The latter stages here of round number 3. And Hilton just turned it around with that uppercut and turned at the same time antifermo into the corner and went to work. The ropes, and then you saw Hilton just turn him around and move him up against the ropes. And the bell to end round number 3. And CTV Network got an opportunity to see the real talents of Matthew Hilton in his fight against Francisco de Jesus last January, where he used strategy and discipline and fought what Dave Hilton Sr. says was his best fight by far. And that win over de Jesus, who was a ranked boxer, moved Matthew into 6th place on the World Boxing Council's standings. A victory here for Matthew Hilton, and he would move much closer to that shot against the championship, if not right into position to fight for the championship in the junior middleweight division. And in the state of boxing today, he has 3 champions in 3 different federations to choose from. There's Hilton again going back to work. Left, right. And antifermo, if he had any thoughts of taking Matthew Hilton lightly, it does not anymore. The junior middleweight champions are, of course, in the WBC, Thomas Hearns. The WBA champion is Mike McCollum of Jamaica. And the IBF champion is Carlos Santos of Puerto Rico. Again, antifermo trying to use that strength, and again, simply being out-muscled. And Guy Jutra stepping in to end any of that. Exchange of jabs there. Good combination by Hilton. Antifermo trying to come back. All arms and elbows and whatever it takes. Try and control and wear down his opponent. And that's one of the tactics he's had, and something that comes with 58 professional fights. Notice the way he moves those shoulders in. But look at Hilton, fight right back out of it. Power his way back out of it. Look at the uppercut. Antifermo, again into a clinch. And again Hilton, back on it. We're in the 4th round of this one, scheduled for 10. Big uppercut, followed by a combination. And Hilton has antifermo against the rope. Antifermo trying to power his way out of there and not having much success, finally moves into a clinch that Guy Jutra has to separate. Now Antifermo trying to work to the inside against Hilton in the late stages of round number 4 here, and there's the bell. And it has been Antifermo taking all of the punishment here. Antifermo is apparently in trouble, and there seems to be a time has been called by referee Guy Jutra, and they're going to call the ring doctor in. It appeared to me, just looking at the picture, that his mouth, that fight has been stopped. A bad cut over the mouth of Antifermo, and it opened up very suddenly in the corner. And once again, the bugbear that has haunted Vito Antifermo has struck once again. A cut over the mouth. It just seemed to open up in the corner.
The result was brutal and inevitable. Youth swallowing experience. The future walking over the past. But even as Matthew's fists were building a legend, the Hilton family was losing its grip on the spotlight that success had brought. The headline shifted from sports pages to police blotters. Davey Jr. went down hard in a motorcycle crash that shattered his leg and his career's trajectory. Alex, never one to back away from a bender, was jailed on alcohol and gun charges. Then came the worst of it. Frank Schuffy, the Hilton's lawyer and longtime family friend, was shot dead in gangland fashion outside his Montreal office. For Matthew, success and chaos seemed forever bound together, one always chasing the other. Still, inside the ropes, he was untouchable. His rise caught the attention of the sport's most flamboyant kingmaker, Don King. The hair, the suits, the carnival grin, King saw in Hilton not just a fighter, but a story. Matthew is a hungry lion who's as strong as a bull, King said. He will slay the dragon and move on to greater conquests. The dragon, in this case, was Wilfred Benitez, once the boy genius of boxing, now a faded prodigy at 27. Once a champion at 17, Benitez was a cautionary tale wrapped in old bruises. King promised Hilton that if he got past Benitez, a world title shot would follow.
Back down to 154. And this would appear to be a comfortable weight for him, but Matthew Hilton is physically the bigger and stronger of the two boxers. And what you're seeing right now, I think, is what you can probably expect. The youngster will try to cut the ring off. It's only a 16.5-foot ring. That's also an advantage for Hilton here in his hometown against the speedier and kind of a boxer who likes to counterpunch and move like Benitez. Scoring on the 10-point must system in the province of Quebec. Judges all from Montreal. Jean Lapointe, Lise Lavallée, and Jean-Claude Theroux. And the referee is Guy Jutras.
Tim, I'm waiting for Matthew Hilton to land a big punch just to see how Benitez reacts.
Watching these fighters train, it was evident that they were both in superb condition. Reflexes must be a question about Benitez, as he has been somewhat more inactive. He is older. He's been through some wars. Hilton, on the other hand, young, fresh, and strong with just 19 fights. But he hasn't been in with anybody near the skills of Benitez.
Tim, you mentioned Benitez's reflexes. With his style, he has to depend on his reflexes because he always has been a marvelous defensive fighter.
Well, there's where Hilton wants to find Benitez, and Benitez will fight often from the corner and from the ropes, looking to counterpunch, but he didn't throw a punch in that last exchange. You saw Hilton just lose his balance. There's a body shot, and that dropped Benitez, and he gets up with disgust, but he was dropped with a hard right to the body by Matthew Hilton here in round one.
Tim, when Benitez loses, it's usually early. He went in two with more.
He hasn't thrown a punch here, Gil.
Well, then the kid is overwhelming him right now. Benitez likes to stay on the ropes, but as I said earlier, he better get off the ropes with this kid.
Hilton keeping the pressure on. This is his style. He just walks in, cuts the ring off, and throws heavy leather.
And Tim, it's Benitez's style to fight off the ropes.
But usually to throw something back.
We haven't his hands.
Big left hook to the body by Hilton. That's his best punch. Final seconds of round one scheduled for 10.
Good right hand on the chin by Hilton.
Joe Clancy. Matthew Hilton in the tartan trunks and the hometown crowd behind him. Had the three-time world champion Benitez down with a body shot in round one. Benitez in gold, a Puerto Rico flag on his belt.
Tim, Benitez is going to have to land a couple of punches to make Matthew Hilton respect him. Look at the way the kid could set to throw that hook to the body. Has all day.
You getting a chance to perhaps move on to a world championship try. Under a minute to go in round number 2 of the scheduled 10-rounder.
Tim, I want to see what happens to Matthew Hilton now. Benitez nails him with a good shot. Benitez doing a lot better this round.
Benitez's last fight, August of '85. He went 10 rounds and won a decision over Kevin Moley. Got off the floor in round 1 of that fight, I believe he was down.
Yes, he was. And as I said, he's a slow start.
Oh, there's another tremendous body shot.
Well, Tim, Benitez is in great shape physically, though, Tim.
Hilton pounding away on him. Matthew Hilton with wins over Nino Gonzalez, Francisco de Jesus, and Vito Antifermo. But of course, Antifermo really over the hill when he came up here to fight Matthew Hilton. He was attempting a comeback at the time, and he was overwhelmed by Matthew Hilton. Final seconds, round 2. Wilfred Benitez comes out quickly this round, landed an overhand right. And now a left underneath, so Benitez rallying somewhat here in the 3rd round, but there's that big left hook to the body by Hilton.
That is definitely Matthew Hilton's best punch, that left hook, body or head. He loops his right hand, Tim.
A 9-time national Golden Gloves champion in Canada, pounding Benitez in the corner again. Hilton ranked number 4 by Hilton with an overhand right behind that
referee has warned Matthew Hilton twice now to keep his punches up. Next time, I think he'll take a point away.
Referee is Guy Jutra, a very respected referee in world circles. He is a native here in Montreal.
He's breathing very, very heavily.
Well, he used up a lot in that first round. Left hook wobbled.
There was the left hook, Tim.
Yep.
That's the big punch.
He brought it up from underneath, and he wobbled Benitez. Benitez trying to survive in the corner.
Tim, he has to have some chin to take those two shots. Right hand and a left hook right on the button.
Under 30 seconds we go. In the third round, Hilton continuing to bang to the body now.
Matthew, okay, watch this now. That's the last time now, okay?
And a warning you could hear from Guy Jutra, using Matthew's first name. Final seconds, round 3.
Stop it.
4, scheduled for 10. Matthew Hilton on the left of your screen in the tartan trunks. 3-time world champion Wilfred Benitez in gold, and moved again by that left to the body from Hilton. Benitez was down in round C. Super welterweight crown for Maurice Hope. There's a right hand by Hilton that landed. Coming to the end of round number 4 with Hilton pounding away and backing up Benitez. Tim Ryan and Gil Clancy live from Montreal. Wilfred Benitez on the left in the gold trunks. He will have to rally here as we are now approaching the halfway mark in a scheduled 10-rounder. Matthew Hilton in the entire Hilton family on hand. There's a right and a left combination that sent Benitez back to the ropes again. Long way in his last 2 or 3 fights with his defense. And he's a much better boxer, and he's much more sound defensively. He was always a slugger, and there he landed that hook again.
And what Benitez is doing, he's slapping a jab out there, and the perfect counter for a jab is a good left hook. I think.
Another solid body shot. Wobble Benitez again. Now he just landed a little uppercut counter, but not much on it. And Hilton stays right there. Wilfred's wife Elizabeth here as his manager, watching from ringside.
Benitez is landing some short punches in there now, though, Tim.
Okay, break, step back.
Beat most guys, but it's clear that he's prepared well, and we're told he's been working hard physically for about 4 months for this fight.
Okay, hold it.
Low blow by Matthew Hilton. Very low blow.
Gets a warning from Jutra. They took a point away. Final seconds of round 5. Round number 5, he had been warned previously by referee Guy Jutra. And we saw Benitez land a right-hand lead. Matthew Hilton, one of 5 boxing brothers, 4 of them professionals. 14-year-old Jimmy planning also to be a pro. There's a big left hook by Hilton again.
And there it is again, double left hook. Works that left hook overtime.
Right hand lead scored, but as you point out, Gil, he does not get nearly the snap on his right. A couple of fights ago, Matthew Hilton. There is wobble Benitez with a left hook. Hilton trying to finish him, getting a little wild now, but Benitez backed up on the ropes.
Well, there's the radar, Tim. Matthews planted, throwing about 7 punches and missed them all. Now he's nailing them, though. Nailed him again with a right hand.
Benitez now leaning on Hilton to hold himself up. Benitez's legs are gone, trying to get some life back in them.
Tim, you don't become 3-time world champion without having courage. And Benitez is certainly showing courage, if not anything else.
We're in the 6th round, just under a minute to go. Benitez punching back here. A game effort, and Hilton maybe a little punched out. Benitez with no snap, but landed some counters inside. Hilton with his arms down at his sides. He's a little arm weary. Benitez still on wobbly legs.
Has no legs at all now, Tim. None.
Another left rips up from Hilton. Hilton is tired. He's tired. He used up a lot. Under the 30-second mark.
Just doesn't have a leg under him, no, Tim.
Okay, let go the arm. That's it.
Here comes, you can see Matthew setting him up. Here comes the hook, back again.
Coming to the end of round 6, and look at Benitez battling back, but Hilton stays right there.
Get break, step back.
The end of round number 6. Clancy, we are back live. You're looking at the Paul Sauvé Arena, where more than 5,000 fans are enjoying what they're seeing so far, but perhaps a little concern in round 7, as Matthew Hilton either paced himself through the round. Well, I guess that's what he was doing, as he's picking it up here in the 8th. We have him well ahead on the cards. He had a point taken off in round 5 for a low blow after a couple of warnings. Big right hand by Hilton. Benitez in difficulty, a solid left uppercut. Benitez trying to throw punches.
It looked like the referee was going to jump in and stop the fight, and then Benitez just shook his head like he's not hurting me.
I think you're dead right. Gellin Jutra, in respect for that, pulled away. And indeed, Benitez looks all right. But more points rolled up by Matthew Hilton.
Also, more energy expended, Tim. If Benitez is going to do anything in this fight, he has to really mount an offense about now, because the kid is tired.
Well, the question mark I've had about from the time Benitez came up to 154 is, can he really move a natural 154-pounder? I mean, he stopped Maurice Hope when he first came up, but this guy just looks physically so much stronger.
Benitez is very, very strange, Tim. Like, for example, when he fought Tommy Hearns, it wasn't that close a fight. He thought he won it. And he may think that this is a lot closer fight.
Indeed, he may have a totally different impression, but hopefully his corner is telling him otherwise for his sake. There's a good left by Benitez.
Good combination. Two punches to the body, one to the head. Actually, he's landed more in this round than any round in the fight. And Matthew Hilton's mouthpiece almost came out. He's tired, Tim. He's very tired.
Round 8, Hilton looking over to his corner.
I'm sure Benitez knows he's tired too, Tim.
Down to the 22nd mark, scheduled for 10 rounds.
Let go, fight your way out. That's it. Let go, man. That's it.
Coming to the end of the 8th round, and a tired-looking Matthew Hilton, but again he landed a body punch with Benitez off balance. And Wilfred Benitez comes out quickly here. He must know that he has to rally and perhaps catch a tiring Matthew Hilton.
Tim, this is the key round for Benitez. He has to really mount a big offense this round, because Matthew is tiring, but if he gets through the 9th round, there's no way that Benitez is going to get him out in the 10th round. He can hang on for 3 minutes.
Round 9, scheduled for 10, a right-hand lead landed by Hilton. Now Hilton backs into the corner. Benitez trying to keep him in there.
Break. Step back. Let's go. Step back.
Really interesting to see a heart of a champion, Tim. The way this Benitez is trying so hard now to win this fight.
19 fights, so he's only been the distance 4 times.
Good stiff jab by Benitez, Tim. His best jab in the fight. And a good right hand by Benitez.
Good solid right. That stopped Hilton in his tracks.
Here comes the fighting heart of Matthew Hilton now, Tim.
Okay, break, step back.
Woke him up.
Come on, let's go. Come on.
Matthew has only been 10 rounds twice in his pro career.
Tim, is he trying hard? Matthew, he's putting everything he has into every punch.
It's only the 3rd time that he's been into the 9th round. So he is still learning on the job. And what a lesson to be getting from the 3-time world champion Wilfred Benitez.
Again, Benitez led with the right hand, Tim, and landed.
That's been his best work. Under 30 seconds to go. Hilton trying to get the adrenaline flow again. Right hand down. Look at Benitez punch back. The doctor is just coming in the ring now. A big left was the knockout punch after a right hand had hurt Benitez. He was leaning back over the top strand, trying to avoid the rest of the blows, but a huge left hand, which is the best punch, as we pointed out, from Matthew Hilton, absolutely knocked him out on his feet. He just sagged to the canvas, and the doctor is in the corner of Wilfred Benitez, attending to him now. They have him on the stool, and there is Matthew Hilton. A scene at Paul Sauvé Arena, and here is Matthew Hilton. Matthew, I know you must be tremendously excited knocking out a great champion like Wilfred Benitez. It looked like you were tiring after getting a big lead. What did you come up with to come up with a knockout punch?
Well, I was looking for a little knockout happy after knocking him down a couple times in the first early rounds. And then my father, when he got back to the corner, he said, "You're going off your track. I told you to use a jab." And I was trying the left hook. I caught him. And the right hand I was effective with. But then in the last, I think it was the 7th round, my father says, "Try that right hook. Try the right hook. You're trying everything," and he's ready for it. He's a smart fighter. So I did that, and that's what caught him.
Were you getting a little arm weary before that 9th round?
No, because I knew that Benitez was going to try and come on in the later rounds. So my father said, "You better pace yourself. I told you not to go."
That's what we thought. Right, exactly. We thought Dad might have been telling you to pace yourself there because you had, on our card, a 6-round lead. Let's take a look at that knockout. I'm sure you're going to enjoy seeing it. You actually set it up with a right hand and then landed the big left hook.
Yeah, well, I could see him getting a little weary. And once I seen that look in his eyes, there was no way I was going to let up. So I kept throwing it, and as long as he would stay there, I was going to keep throwing.
Well, we're going to see it from another angle. I'm not sure we'll see the right hand that set it up, but right now he's trying to stay away from you, leaning over the ropes, and there's the big left hand. The left hook is obviously your best punch.
Well, it is, but my father's been working on the right hand, and that's what I was effective in the early rounds. And, well, I was successful. And I just thank Don King Productions and CBS Sports for giving me this opportunity against a great fighter like Wilfred Benitez.
Okay, well, Matthew, congratulations to you. I know American audiences are looking forward to seeing you in action again.
Oh.
Very exciting young fighter, and perhaps next for you a title shot.
That's my dream, and we're doing it here in Montreal, where there's never been a champion. And with me, my father, my brothers, and our work, and Don King, we're on our way.
King now referred to Matthew as my young gladiator. He was supposed to be next in line, the latest in a long line of champions manufactured by King's relentless hype machine. There was talk of Thomas Hearns, Mike McCallum, Milton McCrory, maybe even the winner of Buster Drayton versus Davey Moore. The future looked wide open. But boxing, like fate, doesn't always keep its promises. The title shot didn't come right away. Instead, Hilton spent more than a year grinding through journeymen, club fighters with crooked noses and nothing to lose, stuck in what the Hilton family called Don King's waiting room. Matthew grew restless. The headlines had cooled, the checks had shrunk, and the dream was starting to feel like a trick. He was furious. His father, Davey Sr., less so. The old fighter had seen too much to believe in shortcuts. He didn't think Matthew was quite ready for the elite of the sport. Then, in September of 1986, the call came, not from the ring, but from the police. Matthew's younger brother, Stuart, had been driving drunk when his car hit a bridge abutment. The vehicle burst into flames. He never made it out. The Hiltons had seen plenty of fights and in blood, but this one cut deeper. Their mother, Jeannie, said Matthew was the only one who didn't cry at the funeral, at least not in public. He held it in, she said, but later, with friends, he broke down, more than once. The tragedy didn't sober him. If anything, it lit the fuse. By January of 1987, Matthew and his brother Alex were back in the news, not for left hooks, but for assault. Both were arrested after a drunken brawl with a restaurant doorman. The local papers, once filled with praise, were now filled with police reports. Still, boxing had always been the only thing capable of keeping Matthew out of the courtroom and in control. And that June, it gave him something else, a chance to redeem it all. At 21, Hilton got his long-awaited title shot. His opponent was Buster Drayton, the 33-year-old Philadelphia champion, rugged and wily. The fight would take place at Montreal's Forum in front of over 17,000 fans. The odds favored Hilton by 2.5 to 1. The death of his younger brother hung over the camp like smoke. Davey Sr., trying to turn pain into fuel, told his son, "Stuart will be with us there on Saturday." When the bell rang, Hilton charged out like a man chasing ghosts. In the first round, he dropped Drayton with a booming right hook that rattled the old champion's jaw. Drayton got up, smiling grimly, and took more punishment. I hit him with better shots later in the fight, Matthew said afterward, but they didn't seem to hurt him. For 3 rounds, Hilton owned the ring, his combination short, savage, efficient. Then Drayton began to claw his way back. The rounds fell into a brutal rhythm, Hilton digging half a dozen hooks into Drayton's ribs, the sound echoing through the forum. Drayton answering with jabs and counters. Both men smiled through the pain, each daring the other to blink first. By the later rounds, Hilton's body shots were leaving dents you could hear. Drayton's promoter, Mickey Duff, tried one last piece of trickery. Before the 14th round, he told his fighter it was the last, hoping to coax one final desperate rally. It worked. Almost. Drayton staggered Hilton with a left hook, but he didn't have enough left to finish. As the bell rang, he threw an arm around Hilton's shoulders, thinking the fight was over. When told there was still 1 round left, his face fell. Hilton then took the 15th and the fight convincingly. When the scores were read, Montreal erupted. Matthew Hilton was the new IBF junior middleweight champion of the world, the first Canadian-born fighter to win a major title in nearly half a century. For a moment, he was everything he dreamed, the local kid who made it big, the prodigy who delivered.
I want to prove that I am the best and get my goal to be the best, to be in there with one day, to be there in the same class as Tommy Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler as they were.
To the public, he was the white sheep of the Hilton clan, clean living, soft-spoken, and disciplined. The headlines painted him as the exception to the family's chaos. No cigarettes, 1 drink a night, and only 1 slice of cheesecake. But the truth was simpler and darker. The fire that had driven him to glory was already fading. I decided to have a good time, Matthew said later. I blew all kinds of money. My car was full of friends. I had fun going out every night, drinking, partying. I ruined myself. I did it myself. I have nobody to blame. He had climbed to the top of the mountain, only to realize how cold it was up there, and how easy it was to fall back down.
Wish I could have been as good as Matthew, become world champion. That was always my dream, but it's my dream has come through Matthew, and I'm very proud of him. I'm proud of all my boys, but Matthew's a champion right now, and what more could you ask?
After an easy title defense against kickboxer Jack Callahan, little more than a televised sparring session, Hilton found himself staring into one opponent no fighter can beat: inactivity. He was supposed to defend next against Australia's Troy Waters on ABC, a chance to bring his bruising style to a wider audience. But the fight fell apart before the cameras could roll. Hilton backed out, and the whispers began. He and his father, once inseparable, were now at odds. The kid who had once trained until his knuckles bled was spending more time out of the gym than in it. His weight ballooned to 195 pounds, 40 over his weight class. The abs had gone soft, the hunger dull. Frustrated by Don King's empty promises, Hilton jumped to Bob Arum, who promised the Golden Road: get past Philadelphia contender Robert Hines, unify against Donald Curry, move up to middleweight for Iran Barkley, and if all went right, cash in with the crown jewel, a multi-million-dollar Montreal showdown with Sugar Ray Leonard. It was the kind of dream that could keep a fighter awake at night. But when fight night came in November of 1988, Hilton looked heavy, slow, and uneasy. His father blamed the preparation. Matthew had injured his ribs 3 weeks earlier but kept it secret. I wanted to call it off, Davey Sr. said, but he wanted to fight. He said he was the champion and had to fight. He didn't want it postponed. Behind the scenes, the family was unraveling again. Older brother Alex was back in the papers. His prison sentence extended after his involvement in a jailhouse sexual assault. The Hiltons, once sold as boxing's working-class dynasty, were now tabloid fodder. Knowing Matthew's conditioning was a liability, the plan for Hines was simple: go for the early knockout.
To say that Hilton's at least 160 pounds now.
That was his own estimate of what he might be, Gil, when we asked him that during a workout the other day. One thing I noted in the corner is that he didn't seem to have spent much time working out prior to the fight. In other words, that he came in here dry into the ring, whereas Hines had a pretty good sweat when he arrived into the ring. And I know sometimes you are concerned when you see that in a boxer.
That's right, Tim. First round is always very, very important. You're not losing. You get nailed, you can go.
The southpaw in the white trunks, Robert Hines from Philadelphia, the champion in tartan, Matthew Hilton.
And Hilton is supposed to be the puncher, and Hines is stalking Hilton.
Good left hand by Hines, right down the pipe. Hilton fires back, takes another of those uppercuts inside. Landed to the body, but paid the price with that uppercut from Hines. Been very effective. Now Hilton teeing off to the body.
And I would say Matthew Hilton has landed maybe 8 or 9 low blows in this first round, and may get a warning from Padilla sometime along the way.
Well, these two guys have held nothing back as we reach the final seconds of round number 1. Whoa, just at the bell, Hilton fortunately missed Hines, because that was launched after the bell had just sounded. Let's follow dive, Robert Hines. Whether it's open or not, it's definitely an abrasion that occurred in the final minute. Try and get a closer look at that for you. It doesn't seem to be any problem yet.
One of the misnomers I think about Hilton is that he is a good left hook artist to the body and the head, but he really likes to throw that right hand and knock Buster Drayton down with it, so he's got power in that punch.
And again, Hines is stalking Hilton.
Big right, winging right hand landed and backed up Hines from Hilton.
That got Hines' attention. Big left hook.
Yep, the left hand. He's got him in trouble. He's out on the ropes.
He has him.
Hines is out cold on the ropes. Thrown down by Hilton. Well, he was not unconscious, but it looked like he would have fallen down had Hilton not been so close to him. It was a big left hook that did it. The eyes are glazed. The challenger, Robert Hines. Hilton winging away. Now there's some blood underneath the right eye of the challenger. Hines in big difficulty here. Gamely fighting on, but he is in big, big trouble.
You know, you see the liability of Matthew Hilton, though. Instead of jabbing his way in and throwing good, precise shots, he's just throwing wild punches.
A right hand lead that landed.
And while you said it, Ali threw a straight right hand.
Of course.
Figures.
Hines in all kinds of trouble here. Obviously in great shape. He should be on the floor from the shots he's taken.
Tim, I tell you, Hilton's expending a lot of energy. Better take advantage of it now.
Looked to me like Hines was out on his feet. That first exchange over along the rope, but what a job he's doing here, staying alive through round 1.
And I think Hilton's tired right now.
That's expending a lot of energy, Al.
Very tired.
All those winging punches. Hines is all busted up now.
Low blow. Short punch scored by Hines inside as Hilton getting a little careless there, trying to finish off the challenger.
Well, Tim, we said this was going to be a war, and it is.
Hilton, I think, a little embarrassed with that last exhibition of wrestling by both guys. There's an uppercut lead, slightly unorthodox.
Hilton forgot everything he learned in the gym.
Absolutely.
Just brute strength now.
He could jab his way in and throw anything he wants. But he's not, obviously.
They may not be stylish, but he sure is exciting.
Oh, yeah. Did land.
So Robert Hines gets through round 2. We're into the third, scheduled for 12. Tim Ryan with Gil Clancy and Al Bernstein. Live from Las Vegas, Matthew Hilton, the Tartan Trunks, the champion, defending his IBF junior middleweight crown, his 3rd championship bout.
Tim, first minute of this round is a key. Matthew's had a chance to rest. They should be taking it to him now.
You know, I think an important point is that Matthew Hilton, his last 2 times out, has not fought great fighters. Jack Callahan and Paul Whitaker. They went down under this kind of assault. Hines didn't. So can Hines come back now, and is Hilton able to deal with a top #1 fighter?
Well, he has the challenger in trouble again in the corner, and he's bleeding from the nose. Hilton keeping the pressure on. It's a warning from Padilla for low blows.
Hilton's walking in wide open, though, Tim. These guys may be tough, but they're made of flesh and blood. If he gets nailed coming in, things can change.
And the left uppercut that you talked about, Gil, is landing so often for Hines.
Well, Hines picking away effectively here. Both eyes swollen, and he's
bleeding from cuts, but he's picking up his pace and taking the fight away from Hilton here. Hilton just covering up and taking a rest. Hines taking advantage of that.
He's taking a rest and taking punishment. Giving those punches, he's going to have plenty of energy. Keep that up. Did he get nailed?
A short left scored by Hines. Hilton threw himself into the ropes with a miss.
This is as undisciplined and wild an effort as we've seen from Hilton, and he was
right. Tremendous right hand. Hines knocked off his feet with that shot. He jumped right back up. But he was really clocked. And it was an undisciplined shot, too. But he landed it.
Matthew Hilton hates me. Every time I say something, he does the opposite.
I'd like to see him get a little better control of himself, Al.
Yeah, but when he's got the ethics and the power, you can do it, I guess.
End of round 3. Knockdown scored by Hilton. Here we go with round number 4. The champion in tartan, Matthew Hilton. The challenger, Robert Hines in white, who has been taking quite a beating. Rallied well through much of round number 3, then suffered the knockdown on that roundhouse right from Hilton.
It's ironic that he really won most of that round, and except for the knockdown, did extremely well.
Hilton looking to rest again here. And I think that's strictly because of what you commented on, Gil, that he's expended an awful lot of energy missing. He has landed enough to back up Hines here early in the 4th.
The toughest guy in the world. Anybody that can
Low blow from, and a right to the chin. Hilton pours it on now.
I would say that Carlos Padilla has been very lenient with Hilton. He's thrown about 8 or 9 really solid low blows.
For these flurries in which it seems that he thinks that one of these is going to send Hines into oblivion and get it over with. But meanwhile, Hines pours on the points during these lulls by Hilton. Get a closer look at it for you. Oh, good uppercut scored by Hines. That got Hilton's attention.
Hilton better stop smiling and start punching.
Big right hand again, straightened up Hines. He's in trouble on the ropes again, a left land. Another left to the head. Blood from the nose again, another left hand. Hines somehow staying on his feet. Hilton winging punches, landed another left. Missed on the follow-through.
See how when I talk to him, he listens to me.
That's right, Gil.
Trying too hard again.
Coming to the end of round 5. Hines again is going to escape through this round. He scored 2 shots inside. What a tough guy. Round number 6 scheduled for 12. IBF junior middleweight crown at stake. Hilton the champion in his tartan trunks, defending for the 2nd time. Robert Hines the challenger. Blood-stained white trunks. It's all his, and Hilton pouring it on again early in this round. Willing to take those shots inside, trying to land a big one. Hines scoring effectively inside.
Robert Hines is such a good, short, compact puncher. Hilton's just able to take those shots. Look at those nice combinations.
Can't take it forever.
No.
Hilton may have shot his bolt in the beginning of this round, Al.
He's holding, Gil.
Yes, indeed. Looking to hang on right there. Blood from the nose of Hines again. What a tough guy.
Not going to see many better fights than this, ever.
Not more exciting in any case. And there's something to be said for the fact that most men have crumbled under this when Hilton has hit them with these shots. Hines isn't, and Hilton may not be ready to deal with that.
Leading from the nose. But he is the guy coming forward and scoring again.
Two dynamite right hooks by Robert Hines.
Matthew Hilton showing he can take a shot. He has not been marked up yet, but he is obviously a tired young man. There's a good right counter from Hines. And there's a good left as Hilton pulled away. Hilton content to fight in flurries, and frankly, I think, gentlemen, that's all he's capable of doing right now.
A little confused. He's starting to look around, looking for help.
Well, Tim, as Gil said earlier, he's looking for that one right hand to end it, but the big right hands haven't ended it yet.
Scored a knockdown in round 3. Had Hines almost down in rounds 2 and 5. Hilton grabbed. Another one landed.
Matthew has to fire. He's not firing. And these punches are so wide. Barry, look at how wide these punches are.
And yet you feel like he could land one and still hurt Hines.
Well, it's literally a wing and a prayer.
Yeah.
If he lands one, yes, indeed, he could hurt him. But on the other hand, when he has landed, Hines is still here, and he has been taking this fight away the last couple of rounds.
Hines is boxing like the consummate pro.
One of those winging lefts landed.
You better get off those ropes, Robert Hines, though, because he's still getting hit.
But now, Al, he's beginning to nail some good, solid punches. They don't seem to have the effect.
Hilton's exhausted. Hilton is exhausted, and he's in trouble because he's just absolutely out of legs from winging punches. And Hines picks up, fires 2 short lefts that back up the champion. Now Hines scoring it well.
Consummate pro, Robert Hines.
Hilton just literally punched himself out in that last exchange over
Those hands, those short little punches, punishing punches. There's another straight punch.
You know, I alluded to the Ches Williams fight in which Ches had his crown taken away by Williams after he had Williams hurt early. This fight looks just like it to me.
Both handled by promoter Russell Peltz, who was quick to point that out at the press conference for this fight the other day here in Las Vegas.
This is a carbon copy of that bout.
Absolutely. Another low blow by Hilton with the warning, no point taken away. And they're both firing at the bell. Hines conducting a clinic in the Hilton corner. Over, under.
Some thought the possibility of a Hines victory very remote, and this would be classified a major upset.
Hilton looking very confused and frustrated here. His mouth open, he's dead tired.
And as we pointed out, Hilton probably has at least an 8-pound weight advantage right now.
Robert Bam Bam Hines from Philadelphia. At the end, almost down again in round 5. Since that time, we've given every round 4 in a row to the challenger Hines. Champion has put himself in a situation, as we view it, where he's going to require the knockout he's so desperately been seeking in order to win.
You know, I did Hilton's last fight against Paul Whitaker, and there were signs in that bout that he was punching crisper, shorter, using the jab, doing all the things that he has not done in this bout.
Trying too hard, Al.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
After that first early knockdown, we saw he could get this guy and hurt him with one punch. He's been looking for that one punch all night long, forgetting all about technique. And Hines, a great technician. Hilton's fighting like he's in a ballroom.
Hines, I alluded to the Williams fight. There have been others. Michael Nunn did it when he fought Frank Payton. We're apparently looking at it in Robert Hines, a fine boxer who is now showing his wares.
Beautiful combinations.
Again, head and body using the uppercut inside effectively. Well, you look at his record, really, apart from Kevin Howard, Tony Montgomery, Steve Little, that's about it in terms of Class A fighters that Hines has been in with and has victories over. But he is showing that he was ready for a title shot.
I think they should visit Matthew Hilton between rounds.
Hilton now totally in retreat. Hines is absolutely in control. It'll take one lucky big shot for Hilton as we see it. This is an exhausted champion here in his second title defense. Practically drowned him with water.
You don't put it out, you've lost the fight. You lost everything you did, eh? You gotta go for it, son. These are all laughing. Show them what you can do. Put yourself out there. All I had is thinking at you from home and everything else. Show them. Look at that the real Matthew Hilton is. You know what you can do. For these next 2 rounds, punch the living hell. Keep him on the ropes and don't let him off.
I said to my left shot.
I can't, but for 6 minutes, you can throw it. Show me your mate.
Okay, we got 3 more rounds.
2 rounds more are scheduled. There's the challenger, Hines, the champion. Hilton looking exhausted and discouraged at this point.
Interesting byplay in Hines' corner at the end. They say, we only got the 3 more rounds. He looked at him and said, no, 2.
That's a good sign.
There's a guy that really has it all together.
He knows what's going on.
Hilton comes out winging. This could be his last stand, but Hines punching right back with him.
And at least half of those body shots were very low.
Put it up!
Again to keep it up. And Hines is
calling
calling
Hilton to come on again. I think he feels that a little something's left Matthew Hilton's punch. Another low blow by Matthew Hilton.
Padilla must take a point away. This is really totally wrong for him not to take a point away from Matthew Hilton.
So Hines just let Hilton punch himself out and he turns it on.
Padilla had better take a look at Matthew Hilton.
Hilton finally escapes along the ropes on rubber legs.
He is glazed.
We have to remember that Hines has now been expending some energy too, Al, you know. He's looking at the referee, Matthew. Looking at the referee.
I don't think he wants to continue at all.
I think that flurry in his own corner, he is somewhat imploringly there seconds ago.
Well, if I was in Matthew Hilton's corner, I would stop the fight.
Right hand by Hines landed. Rocked Hilton again. Oh, an uppercut. Damaging shot from Hines. And Hilton looking
What are they waiting for?
That's his dad in the corner. That's an interesting point.
Blood from the nose now of the champion Hilton.
I know they're tough guys, but, you know, it's better to come back and fight another day. He's still a raw talent.
22-year-old champion Matthew Hilton. Never faced defeat, 29-0, but he's looking it right in the eye at this moment. Game, gritty display by both fighters, but what a job by Hines coming back from early damage to take control of this bout.
There's nothing on Hilton's punches at all now.
Certainly when he gets back in between this round, you would think the cornermen would decide it's over, or the doctor could step in and say that.
Final seconds of round 11. Hilton looking in really bad shape. A cut under the left eye, more swelling around the eyes. Dr. Flip Homansky is coming up to take a look at the champion.
Too much water, man. Watch the water. Last round. Last round.
See the other one, Eddie. Pull us out this last round. Put him on the ropes, don't let him off it. You can knock this guy out. Put his hand down. Put his hand down. One more round for you two, man. Knock this guy out.
Regardless of who the score to be at this point, let's have a hand for both of these fighters as we get ready.
That's it. Dr. Flip Homansky. No, we thought maybe Flip Homansky was going to stop that. Hines jumped up as though that's what he thought, but they're into the final round. It was just a show by Hines that he is ready and able for the final and 12th round. Blood from the corner of the right eye of the champion, Hilton. And
all of this punishment is unnecessary.
Absolutely.
Punishment he's taking now is unnecessary.
The last 2 rounds it has been. You hit on it about 3 rounds ago that he was starting to fade so badly that it could be stopped.
Well, now Hines is really cocky.
You know, you're dealing with with the question of the fighter's safety, his future career.
Everything.
Everything is on the line here right now. His marketability, everything. And it is being jeopardized badly.
Hines fires him back to the ropes again and lands a good solid right hand. A point.
Well, the officials could step in also.
Yes, they could, but we've certainly indicated that Dave Hilton might have stopped this sooner himself.
Yes, absolutely. Every punch he's taking now may affect this kid for a long, long time.
Final seconds of the bout. Hines still on the attack. What a job by Robert Hines. We have to assume he's going to be the new champion, barring, as Al Bernstein indicated. On our card, we gave him the last 6 rounds.
Here is the official scoring.
Well, I've got 9 rounds marked for Hines. Here it is.
110. Patricia Dorman has it 112 to 111. And Tommy Kazmarek scores it 114 to 111 for the winner by unanimous decision. And new junior middleweight champion of the world, Robert Bam Bam Hines.
When the final bell rang, Hines had the belt, and Hilton had his first loss. That was the night the air went out of the Canadian Express. Afterward, the rumors began to swirl. Hilton hadn't been sober a day since losing his title. Arum lined up comeback fights, but Hilton pulled out again and again. He opened a restaurant bar, the kind of vanity project fighters fall for when the checks are still big and the nights are long. It didn't last. Business tanked, and before long, the place went up in flames. Arson was suspected. When Hilton withdrew from another fight in February of 1989, his father admitted what everyone already knew. He's not in shape, Davey Sr. said. One sports writer cracked that Matthew could make a fine spokesman for Dunkin' Donuts. The joke stung because it was true. He used to never stop training, Davey Sr. said. He was always in shape, always physically ready. I don't know what happened. For nearly a year, Hilton vanished from the sport he looked like he could rule. When he finally returned, he didn't look like the same man. Against journeyman Tim Williams, he struggled to find rhythm. The old timing was gone. 2 months later, he fought Furman Chirino and had to hold on for dear life in the final round, escaping with a draw that felt more like a warning. Hilton admitted his problems were mental, but Arum pressed ahead, desperate to salvage something from the wreck. When Iran Barkley bowed out of a scheduled fight with Doug DeWitt, Arum slotted Hilton in as the replacement. It was billed as a comeback. It felt more like a reckoning. It would also mark a reunion. Father and son hadn't worked a corner together since the night Matthew lost the title. DeWitt, a capable New Yorker with a champion's chin and a survivor's patience, didn't want the fight at first. He'd sparred Hilton years earlier and remembered the power, but after watching the faded version that struggled against Chirino, he changed his mind. From the opening bell, it was clear he'd made the right call. DeWitt outboxed Hilton cleanly, swelling his right eye by the 3rd round. Hilton fought bravely, but the body wasn't following the will anymore. By the 11th, the left eye began to close too. He could no longer see, and the fight was stopped. It was the right call. It was also the end of something. Matthew stepped away from boxing again, 6 more months to figure himself out. He found a therapist, hired a dietitian, swore off the drinking binges and late nights. The plan was simple: rebuild the fighter, maybe even the man. When he finally returned, the body looked fine, but the spark was gone. He scraped out a decision win that impressed no one. Then, in April of 1991, the headlines that had once crowned him Canada's champion returned, but now they belonged on the crime blotter. Matthew, Davey Jr., and a friend walked into a Dunkin' Donuts with nylon stockings pulled over their heads. "Give us the cash," one of them demanded. The cashier blinked, unsure if it was a prank. "Is this a joke?" she asked. It wasn't. The Hiltons walked out with $164, a number that said everything about how far Matthew had fallen. They were arrested within hours and placed in a halfway house for alcoholics. 2 months later, Hilton was arrested again after walking out of detox. The fighter, who once trained like a machine, now couldn't last a week sober. After undergoing eye surgery to repair a muscle that had tightened from years of punishment, Hilton tried one more comeback. The body still responded, but the will didn't. He fought Kevin Daigle to a draw, a sluggish affair that left the few who still cared wondering why he'd returned at all. 14 months later, he tried again, facing Darnell Pee-wee Flint. Hilton faded fast, off balance, breathing heavy, swinging at ghosts. "I didn't run out of gas," he said afterward. "I ran out of everything." A month later, Matthew and his younger brother Jimmy were arrested for assaulting 3 tourists outside a restaurant. Still just 27, the kid once hailed as Canada's next great champion was done. No farewell fight, no announcement, no ceremony, just silence. He broke up with his longtime girlfriend, kept drinking, and watched the weight pile on. The Hilton name, once the pride of Canadian boxing, was now shorthand for trouble. It wasn't just Matthew. The family spiral continued. His father, Davy Sr., and brother Jimmy were arrested for beating a 63-year-old man in the video section of a Walmart over a VHS tape. Davy Jr. fell even harder. Between 1993 and 1995, he was accused of sexually assaulting 2 underage girls. Matthew testified on his behalf. In 2001, the verdict came. Guilty. 4 years later, Matthew made the news again, this time for harassment. He'd placed several threatening phone calls to the ex-husband of his current wife. When police asked about it, he admitted, "I may have had a few drinks." He was unemployed, heavy-set, and haunted. Still, he talked about the old days, the roar of the crowd, the weight of the belt, the feeling of invincibility that only lasts until it doesn't. "When I won the title," Matthew said, "I thought that was it. I thought I'd accomplished everything. That's where everything should have begun for me. Instead, it ended. All I wanted was to be champion. Then I was, so that was it." There's a peculiar cruelty in boxing. It gives you everything you ever wanted and then teaches you how to live without it. For Matthew Hilton, the lessons came late, hard, and without mercy. He was a fighter born into a fighting family, raised to swing first, survive second. But sometimes the battles don't end when the final bell rings. They linger. They follow you home. They remind you that every title is temporary. And somewhere in Montreal, there's still the sound of bagpipes, faint and distant, for a kid who could have had it all, and for a family that never learned how to stop fighting, even when the fight was over.